Okay. I'm gonna try to fix the continuation of what we were doing yesterday, which is to fix the sound upon the multiple sound playing upon the collision, upon the side collision, right? So see, that looks way too deep for the... That looks way too deep for the buffer zone, right? Like, buffer zone... Huh. Do you guys see how it goes about neck deep, maybe a little bit deeper, before it bounces? That's like how the original is. But for whatever reason, when we're down here, so that's not far enough. I'm a little stumped, to be honest, with the whole buffer value, because if we make the buffer a little smaller so that it bounces sooner, then we have the problem where, oh god, where we're just not falling when our foot is off. So even though I can't get it, see, like, this is about as close as I can get to be without falling with this buffer of 7. But if but that buffer of 7 makes it so that, oh god, well, I'm really sort of stumped. Buffer is now 6. Let's see where... Gosh, I don't get why I always feel like I stop recording or don't record. So yesterday we tried doing this collide timer stuff, but it's not working as intended. And I'm actually thinking that we just do a different way about this. Instead of colliding... Sorry guys, I'm really tired. Instead of colliding instead of playing the collide sound upon collide timer being 0, I think instead we need to do, we take out collide timer and we say, if our dx is greater than 0.1 or whatever, play the collide sound. And that way, if we just fly into the buffer zone, it doesn't have that perpetual collide sound. Hear that? So at that point our dx is 0, so I feel like if we do something I'm gonna take this whole collide timer stuff out. And we might need to bring something like that back in, but it's just not working right now. And I couldn't figure out yesterday, so let's try something different. So now upon the side collisions, we're gonna say if self dx is, let's just do greater than 0 for now. If it's greater than 0, then sounds collide play. Is that how you do it? Sounds, yeah. And then same with this one, where once we collide, if self dx is greater than 0, actually it's not greater than 0. Shoot, I know we've done the not equal to 0 before. I just can't remember it. Lua not equal. Tilde equals is not equal. So if we're not at 0, play collide sound. So let's see if that fixes the I didn't do anything here, so gotta put the thing we were supposed to be doing here when I left it out. So this is saying I'm using the play function on our table of sounds at index string collidable. And collidable is a playable object according to Lua because I set it as an audio source right here. So, in case you're wondering. So, well, that was my bad. See, look, like I shouldn't be able to fly through that. That should be a top collision. But we're not making that sound anymore. I don't know why that crashed. It didn't crash till I put a right input. It says attempt to index field collidable. Oh, well, that's because I'm a dummy is why. Okay, that works. Now let's hear fit. See, that is That should be a top collision, like no brainer, right? Like my ostrich's head goes through it. So instead of the top collision using the buffer zone, see, and this is where it gets tricky because when we're having the collision detection and it has the leniency on the right collision but not the bottom or top, I just feel like it's going to throw some errors. Like if I'm falling through, like if this is the ostrich and this is the platform, if I'm falling through at an angle here, it doesn't collide yet because the buffer zone, right? But then if I'm going like at this angle, at some point, this will not trigger a side collision, but it'll trigger a top collision because of the different, does that make any sense? The different circumstances. So like it's nice and clean when we have it, the nice AABB collision detection, where it's just detects if two rectangles are ever colliding, but then it gets a little messy when I'm doing only certain, because if you visualize what I'm trying to say is that the side hitboxes are inwards from where the ostrich is. The ostrich is this wide. The side hitboxes are here. Well, no, it's different. Let me just, let me see under the top collides. It'll be under my top collides. Let's take out the buffer here. Oh, I feel like this needs to actually be buffer divided by 2. Because we do want a little bit of a buffer because the ostrich is we want a little bit of a buffer on the top collides because if you look at the ostrich, its head doesn't go all the way to the end of the rectangle. The end of the rectangle is right here. Right? And then up like this. So if we're flying, for example, if we're flying where our tail would be just about to collide, yeah, we want to make sure that collides. Let me see if buffer divided by 2. So that looks like it probably should go through. I agree with that one. And if we scoot a little forward, we bounce. Good. So maybe that buffer divided by 2 is about the sweet spot. This one gets a little iffy. If that should fly through or not. That one I feel like shouldn't fly through. That should be a top collision, right? But if we turn around and do the same thing, that kind of looks right? Let's see if we go a little further. Okay. So we've got the problem fixed where it plays the multiple sounds upon a side collision, right? It's hard to say what triggers a side collision now that it's not playing the sound. But I think I'm okay with that. Because if we have a DX, we get out of the way before the second sound would play. Okay. And then we have that. How do we fix that? How do we fix that? I mean, I know that's getting really nitpicky because I have to really try to make that sound. But if someone's playing it and accidentally does whatever the heck triggers that, We don't want that sound to be happening. So okay, I think we need to set our top collide. See, I don't think I agree with that. I think that should be a top collide instead of being in the buffer zone. So let's do buffer divided by 3 and see if that is a little closer. So this is about the distance, right? Yeah. So it bumps now. But if we go a little further, we're good. So there is that little bit of buffer in there. Okay. So the only thing we have to account for is that. You know, we've got they can't make that sound and they're just flying in the buffer zone, which is good. But that should not be happening. And I want to say that the fix is to do. I don't get why my collidable timer idea implementation didn't work. But maybe we'll figure it out better now that we're gonna do it again. It's not like it's a huge amount of work. It was like 8 lines of code. I guess I'm also just wanting to see now that buffer is 6, not 7. Can we stand off the edge? It's getting close. You know, it might. That's looking good. Huh. Maybe we're good. So it's almost like I don't know how to do this code, but we're triggering that side collision. Let me think. So yeah, you hear that. How do we stop it? Okay, let me try. We're gonna try the collide timer again. Collide timer gets 0. Now, side collide. So the thing is, it's making that super collide sound because it's playing collide more than once. Now, right now, the logic we have, the only time this collide sound is played is on the side collision. So it's detecting this side collision, and since our dx is not equal to 0, it's going to play this sound as long as that left collides or right collides is true. So we need to do something different, like saying, if self dx is not equal to 0, then if collide timer is 0, then go ahead and play it. And then increment collide timer by collide by itself and delta time. And then we're gonna say so we need a way of resetting collide timer back to 0, and we need a way to I don't know if this is the way to do it. So it's like we're trying to play the sound only once in a given time, because we don't want it to be playing 60 frames a second upon that weird bug where we land like diagonally. Because if our DX is going fast enough, we don't stay in the collide zone for longer than 1 frame. So it's only when our okay, so maybe instead of this saying play collide sound if DX is not equal to 0, we need to say if it's we need to give it a bigger window. So like a 0.1 window of DX. It could be if it's yeah, and then the not. Okay, so instead of just playing collide if it's not stationary, we need to also hold on. I think collide timer is not the way to go about it. I'm thinking that this needs to be like if self DX is greater than 0.1 or self DX is smaller than negative 0.1. So the difference there is now 0 will still not trigger the collide sound upon 0 DX, meaning we can just float in the buffer zone and not have it trigger a side collision. But we also have that window of bigger than 0.1 and smaller than 0.1. So if it's in between negative 0.1 and positive 0.1, it should also not play the collide sound. And that should hopefully fix the multiple sound playing upon this weird collision here. Let's listen for it. I didn't hear it once, did you? I didn't hear it once. It's not playing it at all instead of playing it once. So yeah, that was that DX was 0.14. I don't know if you guys saw that. But if we're less than 0.10, we don't make a... Okay, I'm gonna try to get... Huh. I'm a little confused because I can't even actually... Shoot. Oh gosh, that should have been a side collision, right? See, that should have been a side collision. Why is that happening? Oh, I know. So what's happening is, do you see how I'm like hugging the top of the platform? Yeah, see that? If I like side collide, yeah, that's so messed up. That's the exact problem I was talking about, where since it's not perfect axis aligned bounding boxes, we're having that problem because it's detecting a top collision instead of a side collision there because of the buffer zone. So it's ignoring it. How do you fix that? Yeah, that's messed up. That should be a side collision for sure. But it gets treated as a top collision because of the buffer zone. Gosh. But does that work even if we're slow? It does it. Now, why would that happen? Why would we just collide like that? Like, programming is not for the faint of heart, man. Like, this is like... It's like, you know, I've been working for months to just try to get a little character moving left and right. And I still can't get it. I mean, you know, with that's so disheartening. Like, why would you? But that's exactly what I was talking about, where because the buffer zone, if this is the platform, this ostrich, when we're in the buffer zone here, it's not a side collision detection just yet because it's in the buffer zone. If it was a little further, it would, and they would bounce us. But instead what happens is we're going this way, and then this triggers a top collision because there is no buffer zone for the top collide. Well, there is. It's just divided by 3, right? So we take out We take out this buffer completely. Then we will top collide. See, and this is where it's because of the artwork, you know, as far as the game's concerned, our player is a rectangle, but as far as the render looks, it's not quite. So you see how that one looks okay, and this is where the rectangle, if you imagine that as a rectangle, that looks like it's the ostrich would be colliding there. But if we turn around, I guess that's okay too. So maybe we can leave it, but that doesn't fix our problem where, oh God, it's because it triggers a top collision before it triggers the side collision. Gosh, that's so messed up. I'm not sure how to fix it. I don't get why it's messing up, like why it's colliding like that. Really don't get that, but so what does exactly our top collide do? We set our dy to bounce, and then we also reset our y position. So like, what if we don't set our y position, and because our y position is updated by our dy, so maybe that's okay. See how fast that sends us bouncing? That was not the result I was expecting from taking that one line out. Let's see if we do the old. I'm getting that multiple bounce sound problem again. Bro, did you we gotta reset it. We gotta reset it because we get into the problem. If we don't reset our Y position, we're gonna top collide again, and then it's gonna play the sound again. And we're setting it to, if you look at the code here, we're setting it to the bottom of the platform, which is why when we kind of float along into the platform, we scoot to the bottom of it, then hug the top. Well, I don't get why we stay hugged to the top. But it makes sense that our Y would be set to the bottom of the platform. It's a hard problem. It's a hard problem. And I'm not seeing where we play the collide sound upon a top collision. Even though it does. It does play it. So maybe it's actually doing a... Let me see. Okay, so maybe it doesn't play it. Maybe I was just imagining that. I feel like we need to set this to be 1 pixel lower than our platform, because for whatever reason we just hug the top sometimes. Okay. Shoot. Okay. Well. See that? If we slowly go in like that, if we fly in where it should be a side collision, but a top collision is actually detected, it resets its Y. How do we... See, that looked disgusting, but see how bad that looks? Or it just looks jarring because it sets it so far. And the tricky thing is we can't just give it a smaller top collision detection. We can't. So the thing is, top collides is getting set to true when it should be a side collision. So maybe on the y-axis, we put in the buffer zone for top collides. And if we do that, whatever we have in the code, whatever order, as long as we have side collision before top collision, which we have it. If we do it side collision first, then top collision, we should prioritize the side collisions over the top. So if we would need to put under our under our X, We need to do the buffer stuff again, but let me see if I just do buffer. If that stops us from see, no, we need, because that doesn't fix this problem, right? It might fix it where we get a side collision before a top one, which it does, or no, it seems to be. Yeah. But it doesn't fix our and the divide by 3 here is so it, I feel like that's gonna bust the side collision over the top collision priority. Yeah. So it fixes this problem. So this'll bounce appropriately now, but it still repositions us incorrectly on here. So maybe I say hard, man. Okay, so here's my weird idea is to change so my weird idea is to have a true AABB side collision function and a buffered side collision. And that way we can say, hey, if we're buffered at all and a top collision is detected, shoot, no, it's just gonna make us the same problem. I was gonna say if we're AABB colliding on the side, then we cannot trigger a top collision. We can only trigger a top collision if we're not truly no, I don't think that'll work. What do I do to fix this? It's really hard to imagine. So it's like we need this to be, we need, like, without the buffer on the top collide, without using the buffer, then we have incorrect top collision only, meaning we fly up through the buffer zone when we should be bouncing because of a top collision. So it's like the buffer zone only kind of applies for left and right, which that's one of the drawbacks of AABB collision. And to be honest, I don't really know much more than AABB collision, because that's the only thing I was taught through CS50, but we're gonna have to figure something else out. It's a tough problem. So when we do have the buffer, we have the problem of when we're in the buffer zone on the right collide side or left collide on the side collide side, then a top collidable is getting triggered when it shouldn't. So is there something we can do where we say, see, and that's where I was thinking of having the true AABB function, saying if we are truly collided with something and side collide is false, the buffered side collide is false, then don't do a top collision. Just wait for the side collision. Does that make any sense? So we need to say like, but then what does that transfer to? I gotta type this out because it's hard to hold this in my head. So like, if true side collision, meaning AABB, not counting for the buffer zone, because we have the buffer, our current right collides and left collides are with the buffer zone, but we're saying I think this is wrong. Hold on. Right now I'm confused because our bottom collides has the buffer zone, which I think should be treated just like the top collides, right? Where it's like, it should be smaller than the buffer zone or nixed altogether. But then what's confusing to me is under the side collides, we have a buffer divided by 2, which if that's the case, gosh, okay, so we use buffer without any modifications under the check grounded. So I think this might be why we were getting some weird issues, because if the check grounded is calculated with the full buffer, but then our right and side collides are with this half buffer, if the left side of our ostrich is smaller than the right side of the collidable minus its buffer divided by 2, and our ostrich's left side is greater than, see, we should have the buffer, god damn. At this point, I'm afraid to break stuff by switching stuff, but it's broken. So part of me wants to just say like, hey, we're just gonna copy this old left collides. We're gonna copy this old right collides. This is just me being worrisome about breaking it even further, which is very easy to do. And even this old bottom collides has incorrect buffer according to my brain. Well, yeah, I feel like this should be the same as the top collides for whatever reason, just so it's consistent. And then our side collides. What if our side collides the same as... See, this is weird. The right side of our ostrich is smaller than this minus the buffer zone. And then this is going to be buffer, then plus buffer. Does that break all kinds of crazy stuff? I thought it might fix that problem, but it's not. Gosh, see how awful that looks? It's because it's triggering the top collision before the side collision. So I think, oh God, really? Bro, that's too deep. It's too deep. The side collide is too deep. Side of the ostrich is smaller than... Okay, so yeah, I guess we don't need buffer on that part. And then same with left collides. Okay. It's tough, guys, it's tough. Can I tell you why that one happened? Switched our DX. Okay, let me just... So the confusing thing to me is I don't know why we need the buffer on the bottom collides, otherwise it messes up. I don't know why that breaks it, but if it's working, it's working, right? So I'm gonna see if I can't reason my way through this again, where it's saying like, if AABB side collide true, then no top collide. But see, this AABB doesn't just check for side collision, it checks for top collision. So we can't say if AABB is true, then don't trigger a top collide. But actually, this top collide is not the AABB because it's got the buffer. So maybe we can get away with that, saying like, only do top collides as long as the true AABB. Let me think. So yeah, like if we're coming from the bottom, going into the top, it would be a true AABB collision, at which point we would need it to be our top collide with buffer function. So this code won't work, but it's like, is there a tricksy way we can say Can you guys sympathize with the problem here? It's one of the limitations of access line bounding box collision detection, and I'm having a hard time reconciling it. Like the original game, I have no idea how they pulled it off in the original game. Because yeah, we can't say don't top collide if we're already side colliding, because side colliding is the same code as top colliding, because we're just checking collision based on a rectangle. So is there a way we can say because what's happening is we're in the buffer zone, but then we're detecting a top collision. Therefore, we're setting our Y to be at the bottom of the platform, but that's not exactly right. Sometimes we're in the buffer zone and we don't want to trigger a top collision, we want to trigger a side collision. But there's, on the same hand, we want to trigger a top collision if we're in the buffer zone coming from the bottom. So maybe, can we say if our dy is negative, do a true top collision? And if dy is 0 or positive, don't do a top collision, just do the side collision. If dy is greater than 0, then side collision. But if dy negative, smaller than 0, trigger the top collision. Yeah? Because that's the difference between those two states. On one hand, if we're coming from the bottom, our dy will be smaller than 0 every time we jump. So look at our dy. No. Oh yeah, smaller than 0, meaning a negative number, yeah. And then anytime we're moving down, it's 0 into positive. So how about, instead of saying so here we have the true top collide. So this is what's getting called unnecessarily when we do the side collision in the buffer zone. So we need to say like, we need to say if our dy is smaller than 0, meaning we just jumped, then if we top collide, do this. But otherwise, if dy is going to be positive, we need to do the side collisions. Do you guys think that'll work? So we're saying our dy is negative, meaning we just jumped, do the true top collide with the slight buffer, so because of the way the sprite is. And then otherwise, meaning if our dy is 0 or bigger than 0, meaning we're moving downwards, that's when you do the side collide. So it could only do the top collide if dy is negative, which is kind of a no-brainer, but it actually might help us. I mean, like, it's a no-brainer in the sense that you can't have a top collision when you're moving. You can't have a top collision with a platform when you're moving downwards. So it seems like a stupid thing to do, but it helps us. Or actually it could not work at all. So, and expected to close function 121. We need a end for the else. Top collide still works. And the gravity negate, maybe that's fine. Okay, so look, we still have the, even though that would probably be just in the buffer zone, we're having the true top collision there, which is good, because our dy is negative at that point. So see that little bit of overlap? That's the buffer divided by 3 in the top collides function doing its magic. So now I guess is the moment of truth where we see if we trigger only a side collide instead of a top collide. Okay. No, because it's not quite. Mother. That's not quite sufficient. Because we go from positive dy to negative dy, you know, in that fast. So it works if that idea works if we're just bro, what? Why? Why was that so awful? You guys saw how bad that was, right? It was going so far deep into them, but now it's not. Why would that be possible? I can't recreate it. This shit's hard, y'all. We're still doing that hugging thing because our dy turns to positive so fast. So unless we just recently jumped, it doesn't really help us. So what if instead of it being negative, triggering a top collide when dy is less than 0, what if it's less than 0.5? Trigger a true top collision. My dx see, we don't want to trigger. We only want to trigger the top collision if a DOI is smaller than 0. But if it's not smaller than 0, do a left collide. If it's greater than 0, so yeah, we want a top collide if dy is smaller than 0, meaning we just jumped. But then maybe we want to say if self.dy is if we split it like this, then we're asking for problems. We're asking for incorrect collision problems because certain conditions don't have collide values. So I think we do need this to be an else, not an else if. So we want to trigger... When do we want to trigger side collisions? Well, we want to trigger side collisions if we're moving to the left or right. Well, I mean, you know, we want to trigger them if we left collide with the function, so... But there's a time we don't want to trigger them. And the time we don't want to trigger them is when we want to just top collide. And we only want to just top collide when coming from the bottom. But we need, it's like, so right now it's top collide gets only when dy is smaller than 0. Meaning we're moving up. But then when we're flying, oh man, God. Let me try something, I guess. Let me see. This platform right here is platform 5, right? Yeah. So let's print out platform if platform 5 if okay, here's what we're gonna print. We're gonna say we're gonna say if player 1 top collides with platform 5, we're gonna print out the value converted to a string so we can see if coming at it from a side triggers a top collision or not. Doesn't make me feel good it made all those noises. Why, bro? Why? Why? It's not it. Oh, God. So the question is, do we top collide when we do it gently? Did it switch there? It does. But actually that's not so helpful to us because we don't necessarily do anything if top collides is true. We only do if top collides is true and our dx is -0 or smaller than 0. So that doesn't quite help us as much as I was hoping it would. I don't get why we're making multiple sound multiple sounds again. I think this needs to be the same as the other one, because I think that was part of the fix we implemented. So we're giving it that little window of DX where it won't make a collide sound, but bro. Oh, fuck me, man. Why'd I go so far into that one? I don't get why the side collider is just making multiple sounds now when it didn't used to. I mean, it used to do it only if we had it that weird diagonal alley. Diagon alley is what I meant to say. Be a better way of doing this. This is just difficult. We might have to just be okay with, you know what, let's look at the original real quick. Because, and actually look at how the platforms are curved on this. Oh, great. So look, we're gonna go. That's really strange. Bro. I don't know. It's so smooth in the original. It's so smooth, like it looks like it's all accurate. One thing I notice is the jump is less strong. The jump is less strong in the original than it is in mine currently. actually see. Okay. Fuck me. It's really smooth in this one. I do have to say though, you have to work harder to flap in this one, in the original. And since you have to work harder to flap, it's harder to hug. Well, it's harder to, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's almost like changing making jumps be a little less dy. So wherever our where do we press A? Here, this flap amount. Oh, fuck, what did I close? Great, my flap amount's already 0.01. If we have that, is that a little closer to the original? No, I mean, that seems like it was just... Why does that not seem to change anything? Is that... No, if A is pressed. Okay, shoot. I've got all of these freaking values. Oh, that's tough. I've got each jump kind of hard-coded. This is ugly. I didn't know a better way of doing it than this. I guess let's just divide everything by 2. See if that's a little more game accurate. That's too hard to flap upwards. I think that's way wrong. Shoot, man. So the whole idea behind this was if A is pressed, then it kind of checks what its dy is. And if its dy is already negative 0.5, we're setting our dy to negative 1.5. But the big thing to know is that dy gets set to negative 0.4 if it's just pressed, at which point, and dy is constantly going to be getting to be a bigger number because we're applying gravity every frame. So if you press dy by the time it's smaller than -2, then we get a -0.6, and then if you press A at the time, it's -0.4, meaning you pressed it repeatedly. It's faster than if it's smaller than -5, then it's super fast. So I think this needs to be 0.3 is okay. And then oh man, I don't know. But see, look, I'm not, no matter how fast I press it, I'm not getting to that next value. There we go. But then the next value needs to be a little less. And this needs to be 0.3. This, maybe that's okay. Why our dx, look at this, our dx gets lower 0.2 every press. That's just ridiculous. Oh, why did that break stuff? Why did it do that? Dude, this is enough to make you lose your mind, man. I can't imagine doing something much more complex than this, and I can't even do this. This is ridiculous. Where do I do the, like how many buttons does it press if I'm going full speed in the original? How many button presses does it take to stop completely? That's like 8 presses. 1, 2. Get out of my way, bro. Okay. 1, fuck. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 presses to get to 0. So, we need to match that. So where do I say if our, where do we, it's this flap amount. So, well, I guess if this flap amount is 2, does that mean we're going full speed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's like 12, really. But that's pretty close to the original. Maybe it's, you know. Maybe this will be closer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 will swap us. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Okay, so that's about... You guys, I'm really not sure what to do about that problem that you just saw there when I side collide, but just beneath it. I'm not able to get that easy glide on the top like I was anymore. Maybe it's because we did that +1 to our top collide Y reset. But it's not looking good. I don't know how to completely fix that with the limitations of AABB collision. I'm gonna delete these comments because I think I switched everything back. We don't want to be confusing ourselves in the future. You want to make sure our commits are as clean as reasonably possible. Okay. I mean, it feels like I'm kind of giving up on fixing that at this moment. I just don't know what to do. Maybe I'll just stew on it. And here's our new jumping, which we switched on a bit. We made that's weird. I guess I thought we made it harder to jump. Was this the original jump? Or was this the original jump? Looking for jumping DY. Our old jump was 4. Okay, yeah. So this is our new jump. Does our new jump, do we want to keep our new jump or our old jump? That does feel more game accurate. And the new flap amount gives us more aerial mobility. What? What, dude? What? On a top collide, we're resetting our DY to be, no, our Why does that happen? And I can't get it to happen again. Why did that happen? Shoot, man, that's the problem. It looks so bad when you see it like that all fast. See how it just goes under? That's so bad, right? I have to fix that. That should be unacceptable. I don't know why I was able to just skid on the top there. Because dy should always be applied by gravity, so I shouldn't have been skidding down the top like that. I don't know why. Well, I'm gonna have to fix it. I just don't know how. I'm exhausted, so I'm gonna call it a day, but so we reset our top collides. It gave us one more pixel on the Y reset. We only played the collide sound if we were moving fast enough, so we couldn't just trigger it floating there in the buffer zone. And then we changed our flap amount, our buffer, and our jump logic today. For the amount of time we spent, it's not a very productive session, but it's okay. So we fixed multiple side collide. No, we didn't. We played collide once. Played collide only if dx moving, and then buffer now 6, changed flap amount and jumping logic just a bit to be more game accurate. And then we're gonna git push. All right. See, look, fix this top glide upon fast almost top collision. We're not really getting the, other than just getting the top glide on the very top of the screen, I couldn't really figure out how to redo that. We weren't really getting that hugging issue, but we need to fix top collide reset, top collide Y reset upon fix side collide. What do I even say for this? We need to ensure side collision instead of top collision when it's side colliding and not top colliding. Like, that's the thing with the rectangles. It's like, as far as the rectangles are concerned, you know, we need to say something. The order of operations does matter there. So like, we do need to say, if we're colliding. See, so yeah, the big problem is it wouldn't be a problem if we were okay with floating through the platform from the bottom, but we're not because of the buffer zone. Like, we need to trigger top collisions pretty strictly if we're coming from the bottom. But if we're coming from the side, and you know what? Hold on. Maybe it's not just that we're coming from the bottom. It has to do with our speed, right? Because you can't float through the bottom of the platform without the buffer zone if we're moving. So if our dx is smaller than, if it's slow, if it's 0.2 or less, then we need to trigger a side or a top collision. But if it's faster, we need to trigger the side collision. Let me see if so. Look, we have the see, this top collides needs to be after the side collides, right? You know what, maybe the order of operations doesn't matter because we need to say we need to preface this, like we need to either top collide or side collide depending on our speed. So like, if our self.dx is smaller than or equal to 0.2 or our dx is greater than or equal to negative 0.2, then we need to top collide. Otherwise, we need to side collide. So cut, paste. Why do you do this to me? Cut. So we're gonna trigger it. Oh, shoot. Because that means we can only trigger a side collide if we're moving. Fuck, man. Yeah, if we're moving fast, we can only trigger a side collide, not a top collide. But that's clearly not the case. This is disgusting, and I feel disgusting for doing it, but I just want to see not that Not that, bro. Here. Okay. So we still trigger a top collision if we're going fast. But do we trigger side collision? No. We're gonna have to figure this out later. I guess the easy way to do this is just to get pull. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. If I delete this and save it, Git pull says I'm up to date, but I'm clearly not. Okay. I guess I'm just misunderstanding how Git pull works. Oh my god. See, why would there be a git diff if I just git pulled and it says it's already up to date? That doesn't make any sense to me. Bro, that's so fucking stupid. What's the point of git if I can't pull the changes? What is going on, man? What is going on? Look, modified. If I do git last, I can do a git reset. Okay. Okay, whatever. I'm calling it a day. That's wild. That's getting so tough, man. I might have to... Yeah, I don't know. It's really tough. It's really tough. I need some help, you know? But, I'm learning a lot. And I'm learning a lot about what the spirit of programming is in a lot of ways. Because it's just this all day. It's tough, and you got to use your brain, and you got to really think, and you have to hold a lot of complex ideas in your mind, and you have to, I don't know, it's tough, but we're figuring it out. Thanks for watching.